They sold you a dream that no longer exists. They told you that if you studied hard, got a university degree, and landed a stable job in a place like Toronto or Vancouver, you'd be set for life. But look around you. The white picket fence has been replaced by a 400 square foot glass box in the sky that costs 70% of your take-home pay. You are living in a psychological experiment where the goalposts are moved every single time you get close to the finish line. We were raised on the idea that Canada was the safer version of the American dream, but the safety net is fraying. Every morning you wake up with a knot in your stomach, wondering why a six-figure salary feels like poverty in 2024. It's not your imagination, and it's not just bad luck. There is a silent architecture of financial extraction designed to keep you running on a treadmill that is slowly accelerating. We are witnessing the death of the middle class in real time, replaced by a neo-feudalism where you work for the landlord, the grocer, and the taxman, leaving nothing for the person in the mirror. But the real question isn't why it's happening. It's what they aren't telling you about where your money is actually going. This is the shadow fact of Canadian life. You aren't failing the system. The system is successfully harvesting you.
Walk into any Loblaws or Sobeys today and you'll feel it, the visceral sting of the sticker shock. It's not just inflation, it's a psychological war of attrition. You pick up a pack of chicken breasts and see a price tag that looks like a typo. You remember when $50 filled a cart. Now it barely covers a bag of basics. This is the first layer of the Canadian trap, the consolidation of necessity. In Canada, we don't have a free market. We have an oligopoly. A handful of families control almost everything you eat, and they know you have no choice but to pay. They use shrinkflation to trick your eyes, making the boxes smaller while the prices climb. It's a slow erosion of your dignity. You find yourself standing in the aisle, calculating the cost per gram of pasta like a scientist, while the corporate profits hit record highs. The government points fingers at global supply chains, but the reality is much darker. It's a wealth transfer from your dinner table to the balance sheets of the elite. You are being squeezed at the most primal level, your food security. And while you're distracted by the price of eggs, something much more dangerous is happening to the value of the Canadian dollar itself. Did you know that your savings are losing purchasing power faster than you can earn interest? The open loop is starting to widen. How much longer can this pressure build before the average family simply snaps?
The Canadian housing market is no longer a market. It's a cult of debt. For decades, we were told that a home was the ultimate investment, the bedrock of a stable life. Now, it has become a ball and chain. In the Greater Toronto Area or the Lower Mainland, a starter home is $1 million teardown that requires a dual income household of surgeons to afford. This creates a permanent class of renters who are effectively paying off someone else's mortgage while their own dreams of ownership evaporate. The psychological toll of this is immeasurable. It creates a sense of transience, a feeling that you don't truly belong to the land you live on. You are a guest in your own country, at the mercy of a landlord who can issue an N12 personal use eviction at any moment just to reset the rent to market rates. The Bank of Canada's interest rate hikes were supposed to cool this fever, but instead, they've trapped existing homeowners in a mortgage prison. People are extending their amortizations to 40, 60, or even 90 years just to keep the monthly payment from drowning them. You are literally working to pay for a roof that you will never truly own. The shadow fact here is that the government cannot afford for housing prices to drop because the entire Canadian GDP is propped up by real estate. They are trapped, and they are taking you down with them. Let's talk about the CRA, the silent partner in every hour of your labor. In Canada, we pride ourselves on our social services, but the tax bite has become a predatory feast. By the time you pay federal tax, provincial tax, CPP, and EI, nearly half of your productivity is gone before it even hits your bank account. And it doesn't stop there. You pay sales tax on everything you buy with your after-tax dollars. You pay carbon taxes that ripple through the cost of every heated home and every liter of gas. It is a multi-layered extraction system that punishes ambition. If you work overtime to get ahead, you are pushed into a higher tax bracket, where the government takes an even larger slice of your extra effort. It's a psychological ceiling that whispers, "Why bother?" Meanwhile, the services you're paying for are crumbling. You wait 14 hours in an ER or 3 years for a family doctor, while your tax dollars are funneled into bureaucratic black holes. This is the Canadian squeeze. You are paying for a premium service and receiving a budget experience. The dark psychology here is that the tax system is designed to keep you in a state of just enough to keep working, but never enough to achieve true financial sovereignty. You are a battery powering a machine that no longer serves you. But wait until you see what happens when you try to save what little is left. The TFSA was marketed as a gift to the Canadian worker, a tax-free savings account to help you build wealth. But for most, it's a trap of misunderstanding. The very name is a psychological trick. By calling it a savings account, the banks encouraged millions of Canadians to leave their money in cash, earning a pathetic 1% interest, while inflation ran at 6%. You weren't saving, you were losing money in a tax-free wrapper. The real power of the TFSA is as an investment vehicle, but the barrier to entry is the fear of the unknown. We aren't taught financial literacy in our schools. We are taught to be compliant employees. This lack of knowledge is a feature, not a bug. If you don't understand how to use these tools, you remain dependent on the Big Five banks, the oligopoly that charges some of the highest mutual fund fees in the developed world. They take their 2% cut every year, regardless of whether your portfolio goes up or down. Over 30 years, that small fee can eat up to half of your total gains. They are getting rich off your safety. The curiosity gap here is, why does the government make the rules so complex? Why is there a penalty for over-contributing by even a few dollars, but no penalty for the banks when they mislead you? The system is rigged to favor the institution over the individual, every single time.
Then there's the RRSP, the Registered Retirement Savings Plan. It's the ultimate kick the can down the road strategy. You get a tax break today, sure, but you are creating a massive tax liability for your future self. The government is essentially betting that you'll be in a lower tax bracket when you retire, but with the way they are printing money and increasing spending, do you really think taxes will be lower in 20 years? You are locking your money away in a vault where you can't touch it without a heavy penalty, while the purchasing power of that money is being eroded by the day. It's a psychological anchor that keeps you tied to the Canadian system. If you want to leave, if you want to seek better opportunities in the US or elsewhere, the CRA is waiting at the border to take their departure tax. They own your future labor through these accounts. And if you have an emergency, if you need that money now because the cost of living has outpaced your wages, you'll be taxed as if that withdrawal is regular income, potentially losing 40% of it instantly. It's a heads they win, tails you lose scenario. The emotional pain of seeing your hard-earned savings evaporate in fees and taxes is the reality of the Canadian golden years. Retirement isn't a destination anymore. It's a disappearing mirage. The Bank of Canada is the heartbeat of this financial struggle, and right now, that heart is skipping beats. Tiff Macklem and the Governing Council hold the remote control to your life. When they raise rates, your variable mortgage explodes. When they keep them low, inflation destroys your grocery budget. You are the collateral damage in their attempt to manage a soft landing that only seems to benefit the big banks. The psychological stress of waiting for the next rate announcement is a form of state-sponsored anxiety. Will you be able to afford your home next month? Will your business survive the credit crunch? They tell you these moves are necessary to tame the beast, but they were the ones who let the beast out of the cage by printing over $300 billion during the pandemic. This is the shadow fact. The inflation you are suffering from is a direct result of policy, not just global events. It is a hidden tax that devalues the hours of your life you already spent working. Every dollar in your pocket is worth less because they decided to create more out of thin air. You are being forced to pay for their mistakes through a lower standard of living. It's a silent theft of your time. And as the debt bubble grows, the question becomes, what happens when the interest payments on our national debt exceed our spending on healthcare? We are approaching a tipping point.
The brain drain is the silent alarm bell that Canada is ignoring. Our brightest minds, the doctors, the engineers, the tech innovators, are looking at the math and realizing it doesn't add up. Why stay in a country where you are taxed at 50% and can't afford a home when you can move south and double your take-home pay? This creates a hollowed-out economy. We are losing the people who create value and replacing them with a low-wage gig economy. The psychological impact on those who stay is a sense of being left behind. You see your peers moving to Texas or Florida and buying mansions, while you're still fighting for a parking spot at a GO station. This is the great Canadian exit. It's not just about money, it's about the loss of hope. When the most ambitious people leave, the culture becomes one of stagnation and resentment. We are becoming a branch plant economy where we sell our raw materials and our talent to the highest bidder while we struggle to keep the lights on at home. The curiosity gap is, if the producers are leaving, who is left to pay for the social safety net we all rely on? The burden is falling on a shrinking middle class that is already at its breaking point. You are being asked to carry the weight of an entire nation on a back that is already bent from debt.
Let's talk about the credit card trap. In Canada, we have some of the highest household debt-to-income ratios in the G7. We aren't living on our earnings, we are living on our future. The banks make it so easy. You're pre-approved. Increase your limit. It's a psychological lure designed to bridge the gap between your stagnant wages and the rising cost of living. You use the card for groceries, telling yourself you'll pay it off next month, but the interest is 19.99% or higher. It's a predatory cycle. You are literally paying interest on a head of lettuce you ate 3 weeks ago. This debt becomes a shadow that follows you everywhere. It affects your sleep, your relationships, and your health. The stress of the balance is a constant low-level hum in the back of your mind. And the banks, they love it. They don't want you to pay it off. They want you to be a revolver, someone who pays just the minimum while the interest compounds into a mountain you can never climb. This is how the Canadian middle class is being turned into a class of indentured servants. You aren't working for yourself. You're working for the interest payments. The shadow fact is that our entire economy is now a giant credit bubble, and the pin is getting closer every day. What happens when the credit runs out? What happens when the bank says no? The intergenerational wealth gap is tearing Canadian families apart. We have a generation of boomers who sat on real estate that appreciated 1,000%, and a generation of Zoomers and millennials who can't afford a basement apartment. This creates a bank of mom and dad economy. If your parents didn't buy a house in 1990, you are effectively locked out of the Canadian dream. This isn't a meritocracy. It's an inheritocracy. The psychological pain for a young Canadian who works 60 hours a week but can't get ahead of someone who simply inherited a bungalow in Etobicoke is profound. It breeds nihilism. It leads to the quiet quitting movement and a total loss of faith in the social contract. Why play the game if the deck is stacked against you before you're even dealt a hand? This gap is also destroying the dream of retirement for the older generation, as they are forced to drain their own savings to help their children survive. It's a cannibalization of the future to pay for the present. The curiosity gap is, what happens to the half of the population that doesn't have a bank of mom and dad? They are becoming a permanent underclass, working in the service of those who do. It is a return to a class system we thought we left behind in the old world. The gig economy was sold as freedom. Be your own boss, work your own hours. But in Canada, it's become a survival mechanism for a disappearing workforce. We see it everywhere. The fleets of Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes drivers braving Canadian winters for sub-minimum wage after expenses. It's the ultimate expression of the hollowed-out middle class. There are no benefits, no pensions, and no job security. You are an algorithmically managed unit of labor. The psychological toll of this hustle culture is burnout. You are constantly on, chasing the next gig, the next tip, just to keep your head above water. This is the reality for many newcomers to Canada as well, who arrive with dreams of professional careers only to find their foreign credentials ignored, leaving them trapped in the gig loop. It's a waste of human potential on a national scale. The shadow fact is that the corporations behind these apps are leveraging our high cost of living to find desperate workers who will accept lower and lower pay. We are importing a labor force to serve a shrinking elite, while the infrastructure of the country, our roads, our hospitals, our schools, cannot keep up with the growth. It's a recipe for social friction and economic instability. The freedom of the gig economy is actually the ultimate form of precariousness. Healthcare is the pride of Canada, but the hidden cost of time is the tax no one talks about. We are told it's free, but you pay for it with months and years of your life spent on waiting lists. If you are a worker in pain, waiting 2 years for a hip replacement isn't free. It's a loss of income, a loss of mobility, and a loss of quality of life. The psychological impact of a failing healthcare system is a sense of abandonment. You pay your taxes religiously, but when you are at your most vulnerable, the system isn't there for you.
This has led to the rise of two-tier healthcare by stealth. Those with money go to the US or private clinics in Quebec, while everyone else languishes. This is the dark psychology of the Canadian safety net. It's a net with holes so large that the middle class is falling right through. We are seeing a rise in medical tourism, not for cosmetic surgery, but for basic survival. The curiosity gap is, where is all the money going? We have one of the highest per capita spending rates on healthcare in the world, yet the results are mid-tier at best. The bureaucracy has swallowed the service. You are being taxed for a ghost. And as the population ages, the strain on this broken system will only intensify. Are you prepared to manage your own health when the state can no longer fulfill its promise?
The banking oligopoly in Canada is a silent predator. We have the Big Five: RBC, TD, Scotiabank, BMO, and CIBC. They are among the most profitable companies in the country, and those profits come directly from you. We pay some of the highest banking fees in the world for the privilege of letting them use our money to lend back to us at interest. The psychological trick is the illusion of stability. We are told our banks are safe, which they are, but that safety comes at a massive cost to your personal wealth. They cross-sell you insurance you don't need, high-fee mutual funds that underperform, and credit products designed to keep you in debt. They are the gatekeepers of the Canadian economy. If you want to start a business, you have to go through them. If you want to buy a home, you have to go through them. They have no real competition, so they have no incentive to innovate or lower costs for you. The shadow fact is that the Canadian government and the banks are in a symbiotic relationship. The banks buy the government's debt, and the government protects the bank's oligopoly. It's a closed loop that excludes you. You are the fuel for their profit engine. How much of your life is spent working just to pay the monthly account maintenance and transaction fees that other countries abolished years ago? Let's look at the car payment trap. In most of Canada, a car isn't a luxury, it's a necessity because our public transit is decades behind. But the price of vehicles has skyrocketed. The average new car payment in Canada is now creeping toward $800 or even $900 a month. People are taking out 7-year or 8-year loans just to afford the monthly payment. This is financial suicide by installments. By the time you pay off the car, it's worth nothing, and you've paid double the sticker price and interest. The psychological lure is the lifestyle creep. You want to look successful, so you drive a vehicle you can't truly afford, which prevents you from ever actually becoming successful. It's a treadmill of depreciation. In the suburbs of the GTA or Calgary, you are a slave to your commute and the machine that gets you there. Between insurance, gas, maintenance, and the loan, your car is likely your second largest expense after housing. The curiosity gap is, why is our infrastructure designed to force us into this debt? It's because the car industry, the oil industry, and the banks all profit from your commute. You are paying for the privilege of driving to a job that pays for the car. It's a perfect vicious circle. And with the push toward expensive EVs, the entry price for basic mobility is only going up. Student debt is the anchor that prevents young Canadians from ever leaving the starting blocks. We tell 18-year-olds to sign for tens of thousands of dollars in loans before they even know who they are. They enter the workforce already in the red, often with degrees that the market doesn't value. The psychological impact is a delayed life. You delay moving out, you delay marriage, and you delay having children because you are servicing the debt of your education. The degree inflation in Canada is real. You need a master's degree now for jobs that used to require a high school diploma. This is a massive wealth transfer from the young to the educational institutions and the government. Even with interest-free federal loans, the principal remains a crushing weight. The shadow fact is that the university system has become a real estate and hedge fund business disguised as education. They increase tuition faster than inflation, knowing the government will just provide more loans. It's a debt trap disguised as an opportunity. You are being sold a key to the middle class, but by the time you unlock the door, the room is empty. How many years of your life will you spend paying for a 4-year experience that didn't prepare you for the reality of the 2024 economy?
Retirement in Canada has become a myth for the majority. The old three-legged stool of retirement, CPP, OAS, and private savings, is broken. CPP and OAS provide a floor that is barely above the poverty line in most Canadian cities. If you rely solely on the government, you aren't retiring. you are surviving. The psychological fear of outliving your money is the new Canadian reality. We see more and more seniors working at grocery stores or riding Ubers because their pensions can't cover the rent. This is the silver tsunami of poverty. The dark psychology here is that the government is counting on you to die before you become too much of a burden on the system. They have increased the age of eligibility in the past and may do so again. Your RRSP and TFSA are supposed to fill the gap, but as we've seen, inflation and taxes are eating those alive. The dream of a quiet life by a lake in Muskoka or the Okanagan is being replaced by the reality of a shared apartment and a budget of no-name brand canned goods. The curiosity gap is, if the current system can't support the seniors of today, what hope is there for the workers of tomorrow who are starting with more debt and less savings? The math simply doesn't work. We are heading toward a retirement crisis that will redefine what it means to grow old in Canada. The social media comparison trap is the psychological poison of our era. You scroll through Instagram and see influencers in Banff or Whistler living a life of luxury, and you feel a deep sense of inadequacy. You see people your age posting about their new investment property or their luxury vacation, not realizing that most of it is fueled by debt or family money. This creates a keeping up with the Joneses on steroids. It drives Canadians to spend money they don't have to impress people they don't like. The emotional pain of feeling behind is a powerful motivator for bad financial decisions. You buy the Canada Goose jacket or the latest iPhone because you want to feel like you're still part of the winning class. It's a mask for the financial rot underneath. The shadow fact is that Canada has one of the highest rates of conspicuous consumption relative to income. We are obsessed with the appearance of wealth because the reality of wealth is becoming so unattainable. This social pressure is a tool used by marketers to keep you consuming, even when you should be hunkered down. It's a psychological prison where the bars are made of likes and followers. Can you find the strength to stop performing and start building real security, even if it looks boring to the outside world?
The safe investment lie is how the banks keep you poor. They tell you to put your money in GICs or high-interest savings accounts that offer 3% or 4%. But if inflation is 5% and your tax rate is 30%, your safe investment is actually losing you money every single year. You are being rewarded for your caution with a slow-motion bankruptcy. This is the nominal versus real trap. You see the number in your account go up, so you think you're winning, but the purchasing power of those dollars is falling faster than the numbers are rising. The psychological comfort of not losing money is a delusion. In the current Canadian economy, cash is trash. But the alternative, the stock market or real estate, feels too risky for many. This analysis paralysis keeps millions of Canadians stuck in losing positions. The big banks take your safe deposits and lend them out at 10%, 15%, or 20%, keeping the spread for themselves. They are using your fear to fund their profits. The curiosity gap is, how do the wealthy actually protect their money? Hint, it's not in a savings account at the branch down the street. They use assets that are outside the reach of the inflation tax. But the system doesn't want you to know that. It wants you to keep your money where they can use it.
The migration out of Canada is no longer just for the elite. We are seeing a working-class exodus. People are moving to places like Alberta, or even leaving the country entirely for Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe, or Latin America. The psychological breaking point is when you realize that your quality of life will be higher as an expat than as a citizen of one of the wealthiest nations on Earth. This is a profound failure of the Canadian project. When people start to view their citizenship as a liability rather than an asset, the social fabric begins to unravel. The curiosity gap here is, what happens when the tax base leaves? Canada relies on a small percentage of high earners to fund the majority of its services. If they leave, the burden shifts to those who can't afford to move. It's a death spiral for the economy. We are seeing brain drain 2.0, where it's not just about better pay, but about a lower cost of existence. The emotional pain of leaving your home, your family, and your roots because you can't afford to live is the ultimate indictment of our current financial trajectory. Canada is becoming a place that is great to visit, but impossible to stay. Are you a citizen, or are you just a temporary resident of a giant real estate REIT?
REITs, and private equity firms buying up entire blocks of apartments and single-family homes. They have infinite capital and can outbid any family. They view housing not as a human need, but as an asset class with optimized yield. This means constant rent increases, minimal maintenance, and a cold algorithmic approach to tenancies. The psychological impact of having a faceless corporation as your landlord is a total loss of agency. You are just a line item on a spreadsheet in a boardroom on Bay Street. They are betting that you will never be able to afford to buy, making you a permanent source of cash flow for their shareholders. This is the financialization of living. The shadow fact is that many of these REITs are held within the pension funds that Canadians rely on. We are literally using our retirement savings to make our current housing unaffordable. It's a self-cannibalizing system. You are paying higher rent so that your pension might have a 5% return in 20 years. It's a shell game where the only real winner is the fund manager who takes a fee on both ends.
The psychological toll of scarcity is the most dangerous part of this entire story. When you live in a constant state of financial stress, your brain actually changes. Your IQ effectively drops because so much of your cognitive bandwidth is taken up by survival calculations. You become more impulsive, more prone to anger, and less able to plan for the long term. This is the scarcity trap. The Canadian economy is currently a factory for this kind of stress. We see it in the rising rates of anxiety and depression, the road rage on the 401, and the general sense of irritability in our public spaces. We are a nation on edge. The dark psychology here is that a stressed population is easier to control and more likely to accept quick fix solutions from populist politicians. We lose the ability to think critically about the systemic causes of our pain and instead look for scapegoats. This internal rot is what happens when a society stops believing that the future will be better than the past. The curiosity gap is, how do you break out of the scarcity mindset when the reality of your bank account confirms it every day? It requires a total psychological shift, a refusal to play the game by their rules. But that is easier said than done when the rent is due on the 1st.
This is your final warning. The Canada you knew is not coming back. The era of easy growth, cheap debt, and a secure middle class is over. We are entering a period of the great reset of expectations. The shadow fact is that the system isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do: concentrate wealth and power while keeping the populace in a state of precariousness. But knowledge is the only thing they can't tax or inflate away. The open loop of this entire journey is your own choice. Will you continue to be a victim of the Canadian squeeze, or will you take the radical steps necessary to opt out? This might mean diversifying your income, moving your assets out of the traditional banking system, or even rethinking what success looks like in a post-middle class world. The visceral pain you feel today is a signal. It's your intuition telling you that the path you're on leads to a dead end. The curiosity gap is no longer about the system, it's about you. What are you willing to do to survive the collapse of the Canadian dream? The door is closing, and the cost of inaction is everything you have left. It's time to wake up, look past the maple leaf propaganda, and start building your own lifeboat. Because in this new Canada, no one is coming to save you. You are the only